All right. Hello, and welcome back to A Journey to King's Cross, a Harry Potter book podcast. We just got finished with Chapter 12, the Polyjuice Potion. And going off of the artwork, I think this is the first time we see... which one was Harry turning into? Goyle. Yeah.
Oh, yep.
He ain't exactly...
He ain't a looker.
Yeah. I have to admit, I think, ironically enough, this is the most dialogue they get for the entire series, with maybe the slight exception of the final book in the series.
And
Pretty
it's not
much.
even them.
And it's not even them.
Yeah, kind of funny how that works out.
Yeah, but
They really just, rip into both of them, so to speak.
the movie gives them more dialogue than anything. Mostly it's just laughs and chuckles.
To be
But
perfect.
it's something.
Oh, man. I didn't know you could read.
At least Harry had the decency in the book to realize, oh, I can't see. Let me take off the glasses that Goyle obviously doesn't need.
Right.
To be fair, I do like that because your vocal cords, your eyes, everything about you is such a physical part of you. So it would make sense. The million-dollar question is if, you had a family member that looked close enough to you and you didn't want to wear glasses, could you just take those on occasion? All right, cool. I got a twin for a hot second because I want to actually have some decent eyes or something. It'd be a horrible thing. Like, I don't know what would be worse, wearing glasses all the time or the foul taste of Polyjuice every hour on the hour.
Look, man.
Wow, fuck you.
I wore glasses for 19 years. I'm allowed to say this shit.
I've worn glasses since 7th grade.
I started a lot earlier than that.
You got to end them.
I started back in
Wait,
8.
why did he get to end his...
He said, I don't know. Oh,
Why
his is related to... His glasses are related to a lazy eye. So he's wearing blue light glasses right now.
Yeah, I was
this
just like, I
argument
didn't realize
started because he's like, I don't know,
I
what would be worse?
had to wear glasses in 3rd grade, and I still have to wear them. See, as somebody who has notoriously bad eyesight, it astonishes me that, like, in the movie, like, Harry, you wouldn't be able to see if you now have perfect eyes. And because they say that Harry's eyesight's super bad.
Oh yeah, because in the during the Battle of the Seven Potters and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They mentioned, like,
how do you see?
Right. So, like, Harry should not have been... They should have been hurting his eyes. I've had friends try on my glasses, and, like, for 2 minutes, and it gave him a headache. Maybe not even 2 minutes, like 30 seconds, and it was already starting to hurt their eyes. So.
It's also not a good idea to do. It can fuck your eyes
do
up.
not wear other people's glasses. It'll hurt.
And could possibly do lasting damage.
Fair. But we do start off this chapter in Dumbledore's office, which is
where we get to see a nice plucked turkey.
Kitty, you had to see him on a burning day?
And he gets to try on the Sorting Hat again, which... You just leave it out in the office, like, being not very organized?
What are they supposed to do? Stuff it in a box in the attic?
I would.
In a cupboard, at least? I don't know.
To be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if he talks to it on occasion himself, because it'd be the closest thing you'd have to having all 4 founders.
Fair. Closest thing to talking to yourself.
Oh, definitely, as well. I mean, you could probably include the portraits, but I don't know if any of the founders actually have portraits throughout the course of it. I know they got it on the Universal ride down in Florida and everything.
Wait, say that again?
The founders, they have portraits
okay.
in the Universal ride and everything that are moving pictures and stuff for, like, the ride that's in the Hogwarts castle. And all I can think to myself is it's never actually mentioned that the 4 of them have portraits inside of Hogwarts itself.
Huh.
They have previous headmasters, but it makes me wonder who the earliest headmaster's portrait actually is.
True, that's a good question. We do know that there's at least a statue of Rowena.
Yeah, because it's got the tiara on it, and that was kind of what set yeah.
A diadem.
Spoilers. Whatever.
Words matter. But anyway, it would be interesting.
Babalu?
What?
I thought words mattered.
I don't know what that word is.
That too.
Anyway, so the Sorting Hat is just like, at first he's like, Harry gets the hope, he's like, oh yeah, I meant what I said. Oh yeah, you meant that, like, Gryffindor? And he's like, no, you would have done well in Slytherin. And Harry's like, oh shit.
I still like the fan theory that all three of the Golden Trio are actually, like, representations from the other houses and stuff. They just chose to be in Gryffindor.
That's a solid theory.
Ron the loyal, Harry the cunning, and Hermione the smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense. I mean, it does make sense if you think that anybody who's in Gryffindor is in Gryffindor because they chose to be in Gryffindor, as opposed to just letting whatever trait was dominant pick. Because, like, if you think about it, Percy should have definitely been in a different house. I still stand Slytherin.
Ambition.
But family pride would have made him just choose Gryffindor. But then it's like, well, who first chose to be in Gryffindor? Like,
well, I got to imagine a lot of the people back in the day were a lot braver than the current crop of wizards, considering how many of them
Bill's the oldest, and Charlie's second oldest. You can't tell me that their two professions, that those fuckers are not just brave off the bat.
I want to deal with dragons.
I want to break curses that Gringotts.
Ancient ones, specifically.
Ancient curses. These things, you could end up in hell for eternity, and I'm going to do it.
And he might have to fight mummies. Who knows? But anyway.
Also, one of my favorite, like, what-if scenarios also takes place. What if Harry came clean? You know what I mean? I don't know if it would have changed that much, because, you know, who knows if Dumbledore would have actually done something.
You know, that is a good question. That's a good question. Maybe we should talk about that more during our what-if episode, but no, those were other what-ifs. So,
we can toss some in and toss some out. Like, okay, we think this is where the cutoff point would be for some of these. Either we get a bad end, or it eventually, like, recombines with the original story or something along those lines.
I don't think...
And not every what if needs to be re-picked up.
Dumbledore, yeah. I don't think Dumbledore would have... There wouldn't have been much for Dumbledore to act upon. All he really could have done is either lied to Harry about where the parcel, like, where the parcel tongue came from, or he could have just been like, could have been a side effect, whatever, because I don't remember what he says about it later in the book, but, like, it wouldn't have made much of a difference, except for Harry wouldn't think he was as crazy. Or that Dumbledore would have been like, okay, yeah, we know there's a monster on the loose, but knowing you can hear it doesn't really help us.
Parcel tongue event already happened, though.
Right.
Everybody already knows that.
Right,
yeah.
But she's also mentioning just,
If Harry went through and explained the entire series of events and stuff along those lines, I feel like he would have been able to put two and two together, basically. I don't understand how nobody put two and two together, considering the circumstances involving, all of this. And they could have easily asked Myrtle. Nobody bothered to ask her in 50 years, basically, how she died.
Right. I mean...
It's a little difficult to not be like, I saw a pair of yellow eyes over there, and then I died. How many creatures can kill you in this universe?
I mean,
by
it's
looking
possible
at
somebody
you?
may have asked. Maybe when it initially happened, or because she was a fresh ghost, she wasn't going to be able to talk about it. And at that point, they had already arrested Hagrid, so there wasn't much point and they already thought they knew what the creature was, so there wasn't much point in traumatizing this ghost about how she died.
Alright, fair enough. I'm going to say one last thing, and then I kind of want to move on, since we're touching on other events in future chapters, and we can go back on this later. My thought process was, Dumbledore always has a underlying reason for a lot of the things he does in the first couple of books. The first one, specifically to see if Harry was actually going to confront, give the opportunity to Harry to deal with this. It's why a lot of the stuff is all first-year crap. It's why Dumbledore, kind of falls for certain things and stuff along those lines that are normal circumstances he probably would have acted on. You know what I'm saying? in this one, it's one of those things where it's like Dumbledore, if Harry was honest with him, I feel like Dumbledore is smart enough to kind of start putting two and two together with all of the information at his disposal. You know? Whether or not he will act on that is the ultimate question of these circumstances. Is the situation dire enough where he's like, I can't use this as an opportunity to teach Harry. I need to step in as headmaster in order to make sure nobody dies under my watch.
Right.
Or is he the type of person that's like, for the greater good, I'm going to need to be able to be okay with
Someone
maybe
might die.
Yeah, some of my students might die. But if it means the wizarding,
that is
world...
a sacrifice I am willing
But
to
if it
make.
means Harry will be ready, then it's fine.
Yeah, you get my thought process behind
Yeah.
why I'm... It's an interesting what if, but it got a 50-50 shot of whether or not it would actually change anything in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
And it's also one of those, this would only really impact this book. You know what I mean?
It doesn't affect anything long term.
It wouldn't change anything for years 3 and onward and stuff if the Chamber of Secrets gets closed earlier in a sense. Ginny doesn't get abducted, and so she's relatively put together for the rest of the series. You don't really have any moments where she has mental panics or
for
a
going
fear
through all
of
this bullshit, she
Bogarts
really
or
doesn't
something.
have PTSD.
Well,
None of them really do.
that they explore. And let's be real, Rowling's probably not the kind of person who believes in mental illness.
I can't argue.
I'm going to counter argue, slightly side with you. She probably doesn't believe in all forms of mental illness, but
fair.
I know she does believe in depression because that's where the Dementors came from.
That's
Okay.
fair. I forgot about that. So never mind. I take that back. I just mean that she might not be as supportive.
We need to remember that until she started going full,
Crazy.
anti-trans, she was extremely left-leaning on most character traits and most personality things. Our problem with her for the longest period of time was that she never put it into the books.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She never really committed to her activism online, in a sense.
Claimed after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which, to be fair, I've had some people talking about it and everything. It would be kind of inappropriate for a man in his 80s, basically, to talk to a 12-year-old about his amazing gay lover that he had fallen in love with and almost decided to try and take over the world with back when he was younger. I'm terribly sorry, but as a 34-year-old adult, I don't know if I'll ever truly be comfortable talking about my love life with my daughter.
I mean, it's true. But, it would have been very easy to slip in the defeat of his mortal enemy and ex-lover. Or his mortal enemy and love of his life. Really easy to slide that in there.
I mean, it could have even come from Aberforth in the last book.
Yeah.
Aberforth would have been the only one I would have accepted it from. Because if Rita Skeeter was the one who actually...
It's a lie.
Nobody would have...
That's true.
Nobody in the fandom would have believed it.
Or in the book.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Inside, characters.
Well, the people who believe Rita Skeeter in the book are usually kind of
Aberforth or
snuffed
Bathilda
Bathilda
Bagshot.
Bagshot?
Bathilda, yes.
But I feel like some of them, we need to remember this is Britain and everything. They don't go airing shit like this, on a regular basis. At least not with people younger than them, for the most part. There's a decorum, especially early in, 19th century Britain. God, I say that and it sounds like it's super old instead of, maybe 20 years... Oh, God. 20 years ago.
20th century Britain.
You're talking about the country that adopted the posh accent because they didn't want to be affiliated with us.
Wasn't the 19th century
Or no,
the
it was the commoner
1800s?
accent.
Yeah, this is the 21st, so it'd be the 20th century. Fair enough.
The century is always one ahead of.
You get my point, though. You get my point.
Anyway,
but it's one of the they could have had some other character be
Yeah.
It's not like it would have made that big of a difference, especially in the final book when they're running around basically outside of school and everything. We don't have to go through the confusing concept of how that would work for Hogwarts.
Tonks should have been a lesbian. Doesn't make sense that she fell in love with Lupin. It's weird.
That age gap still creeps me the fuck out.
A little
and
weird.
It feels kind of weird that so many people were pushing him into that relationship. I would have, if I would have found out about this, I would have been on Lupin's side. I was just sort of for different reasons. He doesn't want to do it because he's, a werewolf and worried about passing on his curse.
Once he got her knocked up, you're not allowed to leave then.
To be fair, like, back when I was a kid and everything, I was kind of irritated with Harry for telling Lupin off and everything, but I kind of understand where Harry's coming from, while at the same time...
Oh, I was always mad at Lupin. Like, you're gonna fucking run away from your wife like that, who's pregnant with your child? It's a little late to worry about werewolf genes.
I would argue that he'd be more invested in fighting Voldemort, though, and wanting to be at the forefront of it even more, because who would want their kid living in that future?
Oh, yeah, for
So
sure.
it's kind of like, I feel
like,
like he'd be even more motivated to step the hell up. And it's not like he wasn't part of the Order both occasions and everything.
Yeah, but he wasn't stepping up as much as he was running away.
Fair, but I have to admit, as an adult, I would have felt a lot more comfortable knowing Harry was with at least one older person. Because you can't tell me that if Lupin was there and everything, he would have they would not have gotten caught by the Snatchers. Which, to be fair, would throw off the entire plot, because they wouldn't have realized that they needed to go to Bellatrix's vault and everything. But everything worked out for a reason, but that doesn't necessarily mean my parent brain can't be like...
Last comment from that book, real quick, before we get back to this book, is that it still doesn't make any sense that Tonks was at the battle. You have a newborn, and you're gonna go fight in a war right now. You have a newborn!
She gave birth that year, didn't she?
Hence the term
That
newborn.
I don't
that child
remember.
was less than a year old.
Jesus.
And she's off fighting at Hogwarts. It's like, no!
And depending on when, she could have still been recovering from that.
Yeah.
I remember in the movie, she looks pretty good for a woman who just gave birth.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's really dumb and doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
I get the idea why. She went on record.
I get why, but also, like, it's just Rowling trying to traumatize us. Back to this book. And real quick, I think, and real quick on the PTSD thing, I think they do briefly touch on Ginny, when in one of the other books, in book 5, she talks to Harry about being possessed. You kind of get a feel that she, like, still has some trauma from that. Because he's like, oh yeah, I forgot. And she's like, huh, lucky you, just forget. Like...
Goes to show that all the shit Harry goes through on a regular frickin' basis kind of doesn't really, like, stick on him. Teflon Harry, no emotional trauma here, I swear. I even went into a job career where I could keep doing this shit.
So dumb. But anyway, back to this chapter. Crabbe and Goyle are fucking ridiculous. Ooh, look at these random cakes we just found. Just chilling here. Let's eat it.
I'm gonna eat it.
How thick can you get?
The scene in the movie did that the best. Just
literally floating cupcakes.
To be perfectly honest, the actors did an amazing job to portray complete and utter stupidity.
Oh, nom, nom.
Without saying a word.
Without saying a fucking word. I will admit, Polyjuice Potion sounds like the absolute worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
I am already, like... ADHD, possibly autistic. I haven't been diagnosed, but I'm having an idea. And I already feel gross in my skin. And imagining just trying to... your skin shifting around you to be somebody else sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, so, somebody actually brought up an interesting thought process on this. I think it was the Carlin brothers, who I've mentioned a couple of times in the past, whose idea I completely and totally unapologetically stole. They wondered if your personality impacted the taste of the Polyjuice Potion. Like, if you are a horrible, horrible individual, that it would taste fouler. And if you were a good, upstanding person...
Oh, okay. It would
and
taste
like,
better?
Yeah, and it would look different as well. Because
well,
when they're both
Harry's
a couple
gold.
of idiots and stuff along those lines, so it was gray and sluggish and
Oh,
sludgy.
the person you're going...
if you went, like... Yeah, if you were turning in... Well, it would, But you put a little bit of Harry's in there and stuff along those lines, and you would get, like, a bit of a different color, maybe.
Well, Harry's
something that
was
would taste
gold.
a little bit.
We find that out in book 7.
Really?
That the potion turns
I
gold.
forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because the whole...
Kind of proving my
the
point.
seven Harrys.
I don't think anybody actually chokes on it or anything.
No,
either.
I'm actually was going to look up to see the reactions.
I think they mentioned that it's not that bad. Or that it tastes loads better than Crabbe and Goyle's.
Oh man, I'm wondering if the rest of the adults kind of looked at Ron when he said that, be like, "Excuse me."
I don't think
like,
that at that point in their lives,
I feel like Moody should have at least given him a bit of a side eye, like, you did what now?
Right.
Oh, brother.
I think your cats are fighting.
Yeah, they are. They'll live.
Nimbus is still trying to find her place in the world at the moment.
But yeah,
Pix is trying to reassert her
Goyles looks
dominance.
like a booger, and Krabs turned a dark, murky brown. But at least it look, there are worse flavors it could have been. It was at least only overcooked cabbage. There are worse things I could imagine having to taste.
Yeah.
Every bird, considering the different flavors that we get and every flavor of bean and everything.
Huh, right. But I do like that theory. Is that I would agree that your character affects the flavor of your Polyjuice potion.
I'm now morbidly curious, like, what everybody else's would be. Like, would Dumbledore's be a genuinely good flavor with, like, a really weird bitter aftertaste or something along those lines?
Voldemort's, you just
Earwax.
die.
I don't know why. Maybe it's the ending scene of Harry Potter 1, but my gut says that Dumbledore's would taste like earwax.
Yeah, I would say maybe it tastes something like lemon drops, but he wasn't that good of a person, so...
No, my idea of being it bitter
you're
would
a
be to
baby-
indicate his troubled past, but his current good future would be reflected in the more immediate, flavor.
I wonder if... Okay, so... Can you determine... This is going to be really weird, okay? If you did a Polyjuice potion and used to turn into a baby, right? And it's based off your personality, would you either be a fine-tasting potion because it's a baby and they have no personality,
Water.
or are you seeing the future?
Water.
I would imagine.
It's gonna taste like just water.
Or you're seeing you can be like, yes, that tasted delicious. This is a good baby. Or, this tasted nasty. Get rid of this baby. It's evil.
We're getting into, what's that one movie where they have the 3 psychics that can see the future, basically? I can't remember what that movie was called.
I don't know, but the Fates...
It sounds like Fates.
No, yeah, but there was a sci-fi movie back in, like, the 80s.
Where it was like, this is good person.
Yeah, so they could foresee crimes before they happened, so they could arrest people before they actually caused damage.
Is that like a movie where it's similar to the thought crimes?
Yeah, Marvel's Civil War 2 basically did a similar idea to that because they had a person that could see the future and all that other stuff. And I think there was a couple of cartoons back in the late 90s and early 2000s that parried it. You know, I just can't remember the name of the actual
I have
movie.
too many intrusive thoughts for thought crimes to be legal. Or to be real. Because, like...
It's the ADHD. That's how they're gonna get rid of us.
Damn it. It's not my fault my intrusive thoughts just kind of be like, what if I just did this thing right now? And I'm like, what? Why would I do that? That's awful.
I really shouldn't. Morbid curiosity, though.
Man, it's real bad when I'm driving.
No
What
doubt.
if I just didn't take the curve right now?
And then Frodo's TikTok going, no, don't listen to that. They are not talking to you.
Oh, whatever you're thinking, just do it. Just do it. No. That's not for you.
We got
not for
places
you.
to be. We got places to be. But back on track with...
Oh, dang it. I wanted to actually talk about the love potion as well, but I suppose we can save that for book 6.
No. So, we can bring it up. So, we were talking about why people aren't more paranoid at Hogwarts, because Hermione can just casually slip somebody a sleeping potion.
They know how to do this. This wasn't something they needed to go to the restriction section for.
Right. So, it's just casually a sleeping potion. But then we were talking about, like, what if people could be drugged all the time at Hogwarts? I mean, literally, Ron got drugged by a love potion. Fred and George sold the love potions. Like,
the girls giggled about it in the dang movie.
It's insane to me.
I do like the idea, though, that the love potion, the smell that you get from it, you associate with the people you actually fall in love with. And Hermione got all blushy and stuff because she was actually describing her personal, like, the smell that she was smelling and everything.
What was Harry's?
I don't remember. All I remember about the love potion is that movie, one of the early scenes is Ron pointing out that Hermione has toothpaste on her face. And then you find out later on that his love potion smells or tastes like peppermint, like toothpaste.
Oh my god, he would associate that with Hermione's lips even more. It's kind of like that time I got really interested in the smell of mothballs because you were constantly smelling like mothballs. And I started to really love the smell of that. She hated the smell of it because of the moving and shit.
I had packed a lot of my stuff away for a while because I was between houses.
I mean, it makes sense. I used to like the smell of fresh cut grass. Turns out I'm allergic to it. Now I can't stand the smell of fresh cut grass. I loathe it.
Oh, man.
He's looking up something, I think, for the love potions. But while he's doing that, someone made a comment while we were listening to the chapter of why the hell didn't someone in the trio use the invisibility to find the frickin' Slytherin common room.
They had a month
beforehand.
Right. Ron and Harry are wandering around trying to figure out where it's at. At any point, they could have just invisibility cloaked, done some reconnaissance. Really? But then it does lead to... So the first person they come across, they mention that they lost the way to their common room. Harry says, we can't find our common room. And we know later that it was Penelope who they ran into. She gets all haughty and says, "Excuse me, our common room? I'm a Ravenclaw." She's talking to two people. When I'm with a group of people and I'm going to ask for help from someone, I'm like, "Hey, we lost our way. Can you help us find it?"
Yeah.
Then it's like,
"Oh, ours and you two."
Yeah.
Not ours and us three.
Like, wow. But, of course, because we know that she was sneaking off with Percy, she was probably just distracted.
I mean, fair enough and everything. But...
Or think she's like a haughty-ass bitch, and that's the kind of girl Percy would date.
I mean...
He would want a woman as ambitious as he is.
Knowing what we know about Percy later on doesn't surprise me.
Hey, some men prefer the nice, strong-willed women, and some men prefer the nice, quiet women. It really it's all up to personal preferences. No judgment here. Except Percy is a prat.
So what does Harry's love potion smell like?
I haven't exactly found it. I would have made mention of the actual detail if I could actually find it.
Would you...
I'm in the middle of the chapter. I found the right chapter. I'm on the right page section, stuff along those lines. I mean, carry on. We still have the... I personally feel like Grab and Goyle were perfect in more ways than just being Malfoy's friend. With how dumb they are and stuff along those lines, it gives them plausible deniability when it comes to not remembering the password, not remembering where the location is, not remembering call to the conversations. The fact that Malfoy is, annoyed with the fact that he's had to repeat this whole freaking string of questions before in the past kind of proves the idea that not only are they dumb when it comes to...
always forget things.
Yeah. And, it makes a lot of sense.
I don't remember who brought it up, but they mentioned when Hermione decides not to go because she's like, "Oh no, you hit a button." Oh, okay, I wasn't sure.
I'm marking.
Okay. Somebody mentions that they know what Millicent sounds like.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. Why don't they question that Hermione doesn't sound like her? No, you just did it again. You added an extra button.
No, I'm marking off the squares I'm doing for my crochet blanket.
Are you just tapping it with your back finger then? Mm-hmm. Okay, because I was saying after you slid it, there was an extra button on there.
No.
Oops. Brady,
but it was intentional.
My wife is missing her spot and her spot, all this other stuff.
I know what I'm doing, and Kimmy's getting confused and concerned for me. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. But yeah, so it's like you think that they would have recognized something was wrong because her voice didn't change into what it should have been. But man, Myrtle is a bully.
A flat out bitch. Let's be real.
It's like... It's one of those... Because, yeah, we know that she was bullied when she was alive. But once she died, she became a bully. Because she's making fun of Hermione. I see what's happening here.
What?
When you slide it blinks out,
Yep.
and then it comes back.
Yeah, it's paused. Like,
Sorry, guys. I was figuring out my issue with her tablet. It's all good. But yeah, Myrtle's a bully. She's like, oh, they're gonna make fun of you. Oh, you've got a tail.
Wait till you see. It's awful.
So me, I mean, she does mention that like when she died, she went and haunted somebody for a while, and like until like basically she got threatened.
That could be why they never asked her, because she left to haunt. Maybe she wasn't there initially.
We brought up while we were listening to this chapter of why, or did we do it on the podcast just now?
No, we were talking about it earlier and everything.
Okay.
I don't think this
about
was on
questioning
the
about like why nobody asked Myrtle how she died, and then we were talking about it. It was like either they did ask her and it was so long ago that she like doesn't care about it, or that my theory was that because they had already caught who had done it, already thought they knew what the creature was. There was no point in re-traumatizing this girl who had just died and became a ghost. So that's possibly why they never talked to her about it. Maria? Also, man, okay, so Draco obviously is a dick and shows off that Ron's dad had the inquiry at work and everything. And then reveals that they had a raid on his house.
Which, props to Ron.
Which then Draco reveals that he had a secret chamber under the drawing room floor that Ron says he's going to tell his dad about. My question is, would their dad just not care that Ron has this information he definitely shouldn't have so much because he hates Malfoy so much? Or you think, wouldn't he question me like, Ron, how have you learned this information?
I think, knowing Arthur, he would be curious, but not enough to push.
To be honest,
considering the twins and the whole debacle with the car.
it's one of those things where it's just sort of like, I don't know where you got this. I don't want to know. But on the off chance
The less
that
I
you're
know, the better.
On the off chance, it is kind of funny though that
fair,
little moment of bragging from Malfoy ended up biting Lucius in the freaking butt, basically.
Yeah. Also, I realized Arthur took the word of Harry when he when Harry's like, yeah, I saw the Malfoys in
I mean, fair.
in Nocturne Alley.
And not to mention, as a man,
they were selling
my wife
stuff,
questioning whether or not I was a match for another man and stuff along those lines would have put a bee in my bonnet. Something fierce, to be perfectly honest. By the way, I couldn't find it in the actual book, but I did actually find it looking up. Hermione Granger, known aroma smell was freshly mown grass, new parchment, and I think Ron Weasley's hair, basically. With Harry, it was treacle tart, broomstick handles, and Ginny Weasley.
Okay, yes, but like
I feel like Ron and Ginny are like showing who they end up with and everything.
No book.
I mean, if you want to look through it, that's fine. But yeah, it's one of those things where I would have loved, like, it's one of those things where it's like these aspects of your personality I would find fascinating to just explore the wizarding world, not necessarily be like an influence in it or even like anybody aware of me, but that's like those little personality things would be freaking fascinating. I know we have all sorts of personality quizzes. I was, online back in the, the late 2000s and stuff, and I know how big they were. Which Hogwarts house are you in? Which, character is most like you from your favorite series and stuff, along all that other nonsense and everything. But this would be like the legit shit, It
was on the page before you had it open. Treacle tart, the woody smell of a broomstick handle, and something flowery.
Oh.
So apparently Ginny Weasley smells like flowers.
I believe it.
Which, to be fair, the broomstick handle would have worked too.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, him wanting a girlfriend with, is a little sporty and everything would definitely make sense.
Makes more sense than his career choice.
Yes.
Hey, at least with Ginny, her entire future made a lot of freaking sense. And in retrospect, considering what she ends up naming Ron's owl, Pigwidgeon and everything, it starts to make a lot of sense why the names are so kind of ridiculous for their 3 kids.
Oh,
Look, man,
I forgot about
I'm
it.
sorry, but Ginny Weasley never would have allowed him to name his kid Severus.
No.
Period.
You say that
Ginny
like you guys
Weasley
aren't
would've been like,
pushovers for
Harry,
your husbands on occasion.
Harry, I realize that he did something great for you and did sacrifice himself at the end, but no.
Darling, he made your life hell.
He made my life
He
hell.
made our best friend's life hell.
He made a lot of people's lives hell.
We're not
if you
naming
weren't in
him.
Slytherin, you was a dick to you for the most part.
We're not naming him after Snape.
Name the dog after Snape.
And
And even then, it's his middle name.
and then I feel like she's like, okay, Albus is fine, but like,
To be fair, James Sirius Potter is actually not a bad name. I do find it weird that Luna is the one out of all of them who's still alive that got a kid named after her.
this kind of
Yeah.
wait, was it Ginny who named her kid after Luna?
I would imagine so, even though I
Because that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. Luna's her best friend.
yeah, but every other name that's used is a person who's passed on, with that one
fair.
exception. And I really feel like, considering if I recall correctly, Tonks got along really well with the girls when they were in book 5 or something along those lines.
With Hermione and Ginny.
Yeah, so naming her after...
She...
Absolutely.
Tonks would have been furious. She would have come back to bitch slap Ginny if somebody had named their kid Nymphadora.
I feel like they would have
would've-
used Tonks, the name Tonks,
Oh, yeah.
as like the middle name or something.
Okay.
Lily
probably.
Tonks Potter. I feel like that would
That's fair.
have made a lot more sense, and it would have made the naming convention a little bit more palatable because everybody makes sense now. My OCD is kicking in. Apparently, it needs to match. It needs to work. Everything needs to fit perfectly together like a good proper puzzle.
Why the fuck didn't they name their daughter after Minerva?
Right?
Minerva was still alive.
I don't
That
get...
doesn't matter.
Luna was still alive!
Lily had to be on there. If we're
Severus
naming
was
people
a terrible
after...
choice. I can understand why he chose Albus, even though the rest of us knowing that, Dumbledore is a piece of shit. I can understand why Harry respected him.
I'm a Dumbledore defender on this one. An apologist, if you were. I understand why people don't
Harry-
like him.
No.
He did not like himself for what he did, but in the end, everything
Okay.
worked out.
With Dumbledore, from Harry's perspective, Dumbledore was a good person. So I can see Albus.
Yeah.
Even if
From the outside looking in, we get a lot more information. We're like,
Well, depends on how just the different sides. Well, from us,
But
outside.
I feel
Other people
like-
in the Harry Potter universe also would have been like, hey, Dumbledore probably had some questionable plans, but maybe not that bad. Because nobody really knew the full extent of how
Yeah.
bad it was. Except
Right.
for Snape. Snape's the only one who called him out on his bullshit.
And then with
wow,
Snape
Snape gets
being
one.
Harry,
Snape gets one.
Gets one.
being Harry, I just can't see naming my child Severus.
Nope.
I've had 6 years.
That'd be almost
where
like
this
naming
guy-
him Draco.
Yeah.
Look, man, it's bad enough that his son dates Draco's son. But...
The book series is not canon, and
You're right. That book is not canon.
no, thank you.
But
I'll take the poor epilogue. I'll take that, but I
the Cursed Child is
refuse.
not canon.
I refuse to believe Harry James Mother Flippin' Potter would look at his own kid, his own flesh and blood, and
Fuck
say,
you.
Sometimes I wish you are not my son.
No.
I do not
No.
give a
Harry
shit
James
what
Orphan Potter would never.
No.
universe. What universe you're from?
Look, man, this is like
No.
honestly, this
Oh
is
my.
just the same thing as like the whole I disregard the whole Boruto series because Naruto being a negligent dad makes zero sense for his character development. His whole thing was like, man, being abandoned sucks. And then he just ignores his family a lot. Doesn't make any sense. I don't care how busy he is as Hokage.
I will touch one point on this, and we're going to get back to Harry Potter. Episode 2 of the damn anime, first chapter manga, he deals with Konohamaru, who is emotionally frustrated and angered about his own grandfather being the Hokage.
And all
his
the expectation being put on him. And
Naruto
at
the age of 12, I think it was fully aware of the emotional impact that this would have on any of his kids, and he had the maturity and wisdom to recognize it at the age of 12. And the fact that he does not have that wisdom or understanding at the age of 30 as a parent of a 10-year-old is baffling on so many levels.
She's not even 8. Don't age us like that.
Who's not even 8?
You're talking about us?
No.
Okay.
We're talking about Naruto's son.
I know. When he said, as a parent of a 10-year-old, I was like, whoa.
Naruto being the parent of the 10-year-old.
Okay.
The 10-year-old version of himself had more wisdom than his
anymore.
I'm not, sadly. I'm getting old. Thankfully, no gray hair yet. Suck it, Scott and Matt. I know you don't watch these, so ha!
Look, man.
If they ever make a comment about this, I will know.
Matt has bad genetics when it comes to his hair. Cut him, give him a break, man.
Oh, no. The guy's he's a hoot and a holler to be around.
Now me, on the other hand, I'll probably go straight white when my hair starts changing, but...
Considering your hairstyles and habits, you would find way too many opportunities to dye your hair different colors and have so much fun.
Absolutely.
I expect you to, if you go pure white, I expect at some point in time, if I'm still alive, God forbid, to see a full rainbow dye job.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The TikTok old lady.
You say that like our parents and grandparents haven't been wearing the exact same outfits for years now.
No, she's great. I wish I remembered her TikTok handle, but she's the person. She's hilarious. She'd be like, "It's not nice to talk shit about other people. Come sit in the corner with me and we'll talk shit and drink whiskey out of teacups."
It's classy when you do it out of a teacup and nobody knows.
She's got like pink and blue and purple in her hair. It's great.
I love it.
Sounds like my kind of woman.
Harry Potter. So far.
You really are, but that's part of the fun of these two.
Part of the fun. So, okay, we talked about the Polyjuice. We were talking about the Polyjuice potion.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they have brain cells to rub together and make a coherent thought half the time, but not when it actually makes sense. Like, listening back through this chapter, Draco's going, Dad's told me to keep my head down, and Dad knows a lot, and blah, blah, and kind of going on, and it tells you that Lucius is involved. Lucius knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. I didn't catch that. You're right.
To be fair...
How are Harry and Ron not going, what the hell does your dad know?
Because it was before his time.
What does your dad know, about
it was before Lucius's time.
But
so that means somebody had to have told him about the circumstance to some degree.
Why is your dad involved in what's going on at the school now?
Yeah, how does he know so much about what's...
And
he tells Draco to just stay out of the way.
Stay out of the way, keep your head down. That just it's like,
Honestly, over the course of, this is a very good mystery novel. I feel like I've heard other people, say that when analyzing Harry Potter. Rowling is very good at sowing the seeds of the actual mystery and actually putting it into there and stuff along those lines. Some people claim when talking about Sherlock Holmes stories is that more often than not it's a failure as a mystery novel because you don't get the opportunity to piece the clues together yourself.
Right.
Whereas...
I would say that there's not quite enough hints for this to classify as a mystery novel, but I do get what you're saying. It's still, you could.
It's written like a mystery novel.
Yes.
And that actually does make it very intriguing and very easy to read in the grand sense of seeing. If this story was more focused on its magic and its magical aspects and stuff along those lines, it would definitely lean into a much stronger fantasy series in a sense.
Yeah.
This is more supernatural and less Lord of the Rings in a sense. Or would it be Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Because, you know, the creator of that show is also a problematic person. Nothing quite like
so
finding
much I
all of your childhood heroes are actually terrible people underneath it all.
Look, man.
Yeah.
If Xander has no haters, then I'm dead.
Xander. That was the
Buffy's the
mentor.
dude in what? No, that's Giles.
Oh.
I love Giles. We love Giles most of the time.
I was
He
like,
has
I was actually
questionable
going to be
moments,
heartbroken there for a moment. I was like, what did Giles
No,
do?
Xander is a terrible. To be fair, all her friends are shitty friends.
I mean, if you guys want to, we could do a rewatch of that series and do that for our next podcast project.
There's so much I could talk about
I
Buffy.
I watched sporadic episodes back when my mom was really super interested in it, and so I haven't really watched anything concentrated throughout the whole outside of the first season. So I'd be going through this with fresh eyes, where it sounds like Kimmy'd be like, well, that happens next, this happens next, and stuff like that.
Rose-colored glasses.
Or the opposite of rose-colored glasses.
Look, man, like every 2 years, I feel like I do a Buffy rewatch.
Really?
Or I've done a couple. I think I've seen through the entire series like 3 times.
Kind of like me with the Star Wars movies.
Which I will...
Most
Fair.
of them, anyway.
I will admit that one thing that does bother me is that for the streaming now, you can't find the original cuts of some of the episodes. Like, for example, in the musical episode, when in the streaming site, a couple of the songs are cut.
Really?
Yeah. Like, just like 1 or 2. But
my mom still has the full season series collection, to be honest. I remember borrowing it because we watched a bit of it back when we first started hanging out.
it's kind of like in Doctor Who, some of the episodes that you are streaming now aren't the original versions. Like in the episode where the Master takes over, the song I Can't Decide plays, but it's cut in the versions that you see now.
I love that song.
I know, it's so great.
It really? Oh man.
Yes, I was rewatching it when I was rewatching it at one point. I noticed the song was not there. I'm like, wait, where's my song? Where's the song? Because I fucking love that song.
That was the best.
I can't decide whether you should live or die.
There's another series you could potentially do a watch for a podcast-wise. We can stick to the British shit and go watch Doctor Who. I haven't watched that. I did like a single watch through of it, and I kind of stopped after Capaldi ended his run and everything.
Same. I've seen a couple. No.
I
haven't finished Capaldi. I take it back.
We've seen a couple of the what's her name? The female doctor, and Whittaker, and I saw a couple of clips from the Christmas special with David Tennant and the newest Doctor.
Oh, you know what? No, I take it back. I did finish Capaldi. I haven't finished Whittaker yet.
I think we got at least a season into Whittaker. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just not feeling it.
We started in the second. Yeah.
I think my problem with watching the Jodie Whittaker stuff is that it was much too current political.
Yeah.
Field for me. It's like I get that the political stuff is important. I get that it's going to affect some of the media we watch, but I don't need it. But it's like it's in everything, and this is a sci-fi show. Come on.
Go back to the planets in outer space that are having their own turmoil.
Okay, no. This is not why I don't like it. Every single sci-fi series in the universe has always been forward-thinking. John Roddenberry had the first white-on-black kiss between 2 mixed-race people and stuff along those lines.
Okay.
I have never had a problem with Jack from the first Redemption series of him being pansexual and stuff along those lines. My issue has always been that it is their political commentary has been gradually becoming harder, poorly handled. And it started under Capaldi, in my personal opinion, with the Moon episode. And I was just sort of like, that episode where the egg
Capaldi?
thing, that was Capaldi, and he's like, I'm not allowed to talk about this because it's none of my difference. It's basically an abortion allegory, and I don't have a problem with such things.
Yeah,
my problem is when you handle it poorly, or you do such a bad job of it that you make me agree with the Trump person that is supposed to be the bad guy. But all I can think to myself is, why are you I don't like the guy. I honestly do not like the guy one little bit and everything. The fact that I am openly admitting that I agree with the character that is clearly based off of a person I do not like means that you have failed in every sense of the
I don't
word.
remember fully that episode.
I never watched it.
But I remember what one you're talking about. You see, I have no problem with my sci-fi. Sci-fi is woke. Sci-fi has been woke. I mean, if you think about it, technically, the only reason we had Star Trek was because of women.
Yes.
I think it was I Love Lucy.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. She was
Lucille
actually
Ball.
in charge of the company and everything, and a lot of the stockbrokers intentionally didn't like the idea of the series. It was going to get canned, and
But she pushed for it.
Yeah.
A lot of the Star Trek groupies were housewives.
And Mary Sue originated from fan fiction from the actual Star Trek series.
What did?
Mary Sue. The original Mary Sue, you know, the trope about like the perfect woman and everything in fiction and stuff. That was originally coined thanks to Star Trek fan fiction. And she was also Lucille Ball also was responsible for the Twilight Zone as well. That was the other sci-fi series that got created and stuff along those lines under her watch.
Yeah.
Before eventually all of her work getting fused in with Paramount and everything. But that's a different podcast.
Okay. But so like I have no problem with sci-fi being woke. My problem was that it was just way too much political commentary. There's a difference between being woke about things that are just things that should be normal. It's different when you're talking about like opposing.
I want to be entertained. I don't want to be lectured to.
Yeah, it was kind of in your face towards the later seasons.
Harkness
it was subtle.
Being pansexual, it was subtle. It's entertaining.
It worked.
It's not the plot.
And also didn't take away from him being a very good and multifaceted character. It was just an aspect of himself.
Yeah.
Which I feel is probably how most representation should be used. That's my personal opinion. You do not have to agree with me on that.
My thing is like, obviously, look, and I'm bisexual, so my thing is I don't want a character's personality to be their sexuality. I want them to be a person, and their sexuality is just a thing that they are. Which for Captain Jack Harkness, it's just a thing that he is, but it has nothing to do with his personality.
Okay.
I don't like people. I don't like characters that have to be like, I'm gay, and that is like, but I'm gay.
They don't need to go the vegan route.
They don't need what?
They don't need to go the vegan route.
Be gay, not vegan.
Yes.
Anyway, let's get back on track. We missed an interesting section, though, where Fred and George are actually going around commenting about, look out, seriously evil wizard guy.
He's going to go have tea in the Chamber of Secrets. And Harry feels so seen right there. He's just like, I'm glad that somebody knows I'm not the heir of Slytherin, and they can just make jokes about this, because, like, literally, how silly does it sound?
And then Percy's like, stop it, that's not funny. No,
Ginny's upset by it.
Ginny actually was, too, but, like, if I was Harry...
different reasons.
For different reasons. If I was Harry, I'd be like, this is fucking great.
Oh, dude.
This is how you handle bullying.
Yeah. I would lean into this, too. If I was Harry, I'd be like, how did you know?
Cover yourself up a crown.
Some sort of, like, paper crown with heir of Slytherin on it.
A mayor's sash.
Yeah. Oh, God, that'd be funny. I think there was, they used a clove of garlic on him or something, kind of treating him like he was a vampire.
Garlic to ward him off.
All I could think to myself is I really wish we'd gotten more of like little bits and pieces of this. I think one of the additions they made for the third movie was Harry actually hanging out with his dorm mates and stuff while chewing on like magical candy.
Oh yeah.
When Ron does like the roaring thing, like he's just
lion. Whistle.
Yeah. I no idea what they were like, what that was all about or anything. Oh, by the way, Hedwig starts talking to him again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're talking to me again? I love the personality they give Hedwig throughout the course of the series. She's like almost an honorary member of the Golden Trio in a sense, because she's nipping at him. It's like, okay, all is forgiven now. I feel like you've been tortured enough for almost killing me by that freaking tree. Right. I know they couldn't have. It would have been a nightmare and a half to really like put that into the actual movies and stuff. But you can't tell me that wouldn't have been freaking adorable to see Hedwig getting sassy. I think at some point in time, she gets sassy again in book 4 or something along those lines.
In book 5, Harry tells her, peck them until they give a decent answer. Like,
oh, God.
And she does.
I feel like, yeah, Harry actually takes a little bit of satisfaction seeing that both Ron and Hermione's hands are like were scratched up and everything. But that wasn't what it was. I think
so
it was
wizard angst.
Book 4 was the one where he went up. He was trading letters with Sirius Black and everything.
Oh, and she gets offended by the peacock or the parrots and everything.
Yeah, the really brightly colored like tropical birds. But that's not the only time she gets affronted, because he uses the school owls to send letters back. And Hedwig puts the arm out. All right, let's go. You're here. I know why you're here.
Do it.
Oh, and she gets miffed.
And she doesn't like pig either.
No.
Yeah, no. It's more of a have some dignity. This is a very important, respectable job.
I'm a mailman. I'm a mailman. I'm a mailman. Woo!
Sit down and act respectable. You are a proud member of a great and noble job. And you're treating it like...
To woo!
I preferred Harold. At least, as clumsy as he was, he took the job seriously.
Harold. Not Harold.
Fair enough. But, yeah, I honestly, we're having this nice, wonderful, fond moment. God rest her soul.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Hedwig.
Undeserved. That one was just mean rowling. I mean, to be perfectly honest, a lot of them were. I can understand.
Look, man, the reason why she kills Hedwig is because it's an allegory for killing Harry's childhood.
As if it weren't already dead to begin with.
Hedwig's death hurt. It hurt.
Like, some of them, it's like, going out with your boots on.
Yeah.
Mad-Eye Moody couldn't have gone out any other way.
I think that Harry's Patronus should have changed to Hedwig as soon as she died.
Hell yes. Agreed.
I feel like he's got more of an emotional attachment to that owl than his own dad, to be perfectly frank.
They were around longer, or she was around longer.
Around him longer. Technically, they had 20 years to her. What, 10 max? I have no idea when she was born.
He had 1 year for her. He's
talking total lifespan.
Yes, you were making a joke about like how long they were around and everything.
She had 7 years. Well,
7 years to their 1.
6 years to their 1. So.
I mean, it was the start of the next school term, basically. So
But he got
roughly around, and he
got her
before.
Beginning.
Yeah, but
it would have been the 6th year, though.
That's rough. Here we are cracking jokes about dead birds. Yeah, no. Anyway, I do have to admit, I love
what
how...
What do you call a group of owls? It's a parliament, I think? Parliament of owls?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Or it's a congregation, I don't remember. I believe it's parliament. Parliament of owls. We all have phones somewhere, but, we're guessing here.
Look it up.
Oh, yeah, okay, so I wanted to add something to the Myrtle.
To woo. I don't know if you guys remember that reference. I don't know if you've read those books. Narnia. It's the silver chair. The owl.
God, I haven't.
To woo!
I haven't read the Narnia books in forever.
Oh, neither have I. I just to woo.
I never officially read them.
I've read them once. I read the whole series at least once, and I reread certain ones. I think the last 2 I didn't sit.
Personally,
well
I enjoy The Horse and His Boy the best.
Okay, so I'm not alone in that.
It's the best!
I honestly think, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
And the final battle is objectively, I think, the worst.
It gets out there.
It gets a little lost in the sauce.
To be fair, I didn't much care for how Caspian was treating the frickin' elementary school kids in book 6 either, so, it's whatever.
Books... What?
The one before the silver chair. Caspian comes back after dying at the beginning of the book and everything, and he shows up in our world to basically pick on some elementary school kids.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Who were bullying... He was picking on the kids who were bullies. He wasn't really picking on them as much as, like,
I get the
teaching them a lesson.
Off topic. We are severely off topic for this one.
Anyway, you had something you wanted to talk about. Myrtle.
Yeah, she also kind of pervs on Harry in book 4.
Oh, God.
And is sympathetic towards Malfoy, you know.
I mean,
who,
to be fair, she's a permanently hormonal teenager ghost.
I know, but it's like moments like those that kind of kill my sympathy for the character. And it's like, I can't feel bad for Harry wanting to avoid the crap out of her. If a ghost was perving on me while I'm in the bath, basically, and stuff along those lines, yeah, I'd be kind of concerned too. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised Harry didn't say that to anyone, especially Cedric, because apparently she was in there spying on Cedric as well, and all of the bubbles were getting popped when he was in there.
Look, man, I'm not gonna lie, Myrtle is not...
I don't feel
I feel bad for her that I feel bad that she was murdered as a child.
I mean, fair.
However, it's very clear that she was never really a good person, and it has learned nothing in the 50 years that she's been dead. She has not grown at all.
No.
Yep.
Because, like, obviously we see growth from some of the other ghosts to a point, but she's obviously stuck perpetually as a teen and acts like it. She's not a good person. Ghosts can be people too. She is not a good person.
She has a personality, so therefore she's a person. She's not a good one.
She's a pervert. Being dead does not excuse you from being a pervert. And she is a bully.
She has...
And she cries victim.
She tantrums harder than my 3-year-old. And that's saying something, because my 3-year-old can't entirely speak.
I have to admit, though, this whole thing with, like, the cat potion transformation thing...
Thank you for bringing that back up. I have
a lot
a
of
complaint.
questions on how that works.
What's your complaint, Brandy?
How the fuck did she not realize it was a cat hair?
Yeah, that is a good question, because honestly, like, that's so small. Unless Millicent has short hair.
No. Kimmy, you have cats.
I do.
It doesn't matter how short the hair is. Okay? I have fine hair, but if you were to take one of my fine baby hairs that is short and could pass as the length of a cat hair, you would still be able to tell me which one was the cat hair and which was the human hair.
Yeah, probably.
Even if I gave you a cat hair from a blonde cat that looks like me.
That'd be a
What
cute
does a
cat.
blonde cat look like?
Like that same color. What I meant.
I know.
I still think that'd be a very cute cat to find one that looks like you.
Yeah. But, point being, you would still be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, unless Hermione isn't around cats. Hogwarts is full of cats.
Yeah, she gets one in year 3.
It's a very different texture than human hair.
Yes.
So, I think she just kind of got over cocky about it.
She got sloppy. She saw an opportunity, took it, and then didn't necessarily realize. To be honest, she didn't even need to really be involved. They just...
Yeah, 3 is too many.
Malfoy having conversations with his 2 stooges makes a lot of sense. Bulstrode was never really associated with the group until, like, the 4th year, if I'm aware of.
I don't think she was ever really around. No, because you're Pansy.
Oh. So, yeah, Bulstrode... For all we know, Malfoy could have just been glaring at her the entire time and wouldn't start talking about things until she was out of earshot if there was anything that was sensitive. So all I could think to myself is, honestly, this plan works perfectly fine with Harry and Ron, and Hermione could have just sat back and let the boys do the dirty work on this one.
Yeah, the only thing... Because what if one of Millicent's friends had come over and tried talking to her about shit?
Yeah.
Because, like, the only thing that Hermione would have been good for is a timer. Like, hey, you two, this teacher's calling you.
Yeah.
Like, coming in close to the hour mark. And
but that doesn't...
hey, idiots, they just put more cakes out in the Great Hall.
Something like somewhat of an exit strategy, but to be honest, they did an excellent job on their own on that.
Barely.
Stomachache. And that excuse got them out of there, and they set it up beforehand and everything, so it actually kind of works. The thing was, though, is that Madame Pomfrey is not a narc. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody
We learn in the
shows
next chapter.
she's...
Oh, go ahead.
She takes one look at Hermione, asks no bloody freaking questions, patches her back up. I have to admit, I would be seriously concerned with long-term side effects on this one, you know what I mean? Like...
Cat eyes forever.
I gotta be honest with you, I get the distinct impression a lot of people today would have probably wanted a couple of those side effects. You cannot tell me, with the amount of furries that exist on the internet and stuff along those lines, somebody would not take full advantage of this. They'd just turn themselves into a cat person and not care if it's permanent.
Yep.
They'd be like, all right, cool.
That CGI work...
Joffrey doesn't ask questions when Ron gets bit by a dragon, either.
Yeah.
He lies and says it was a dog bite, but...
She does give a couple of...
He's like, I think it's more of
gonna make a squirm a
it's
little
more
bit.
of a, I need to know what it is so I can fix you, rather than I'm gonna tell on somebody that you were fucking around with a dragon.
I know. Okay, I know this is the UK, and I know that this is magic. But, HIPAA. The Health Information Privacy Protection
HIPAA
Act.
violations.
HIPAA. Because I was just relating this to, before marijuana was legal, the joke was the dog comes in clearly high, and the owners deny that the dog got into weed. Well, I don't have any, blah, blah, blah. Someone must have left it in my house. They're like, we don't care how you got the weed.
We need to know that your dog consumed it.
We just need to know if the dog had it, how much, because this could be a 50-pound Labrador cross, or it could be a 5-pound Chihuahua, and that's different toxicities. We're not going to turn you in. We're not narcs.
Your only
Looks
concern
directly at the
is that
doc.
you need to know that the dog, what the dog consumed.
If it did happen to get into something that I may or may not have at my house or anything along those lines, it would have potentially been about 16 kilos of cocaine. Not saying that that's what my dog got into or anything, but I'm just saying that that's kind of the circumstances which may not have happened and get me here, basically.
Was it a reference from something?
No.
Okay. Because I would wanted to know what that was a reference to, because 16 kilos is a lot. That's
cocaine bear.
It was
40 pounds.
It was a very productive day for my dog, let me tell you.
That's almost 40 pounds, dude.
It was the
Cocaine
good shit,
bear.
okay? Dog was really into it. His asshole never looks cleaner.
Well, I think we're about time to wrap this episode
I
up.
was thinking that too. We've fallen off the tracks.
Like
Tracks? What tracks?
this
look, they're on fire.
This Hogwarts Express is so completely off the tracks and stuff that
Look,
we've caught on
We're
fire.
so far off the tracks, we're on our way to pig farts.
We left the conductor in King's Cross, right? He's safe.
I don't know if either of you get the pig farts. Right.
Yes, I'm aware of a
It's
very...
musical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the Harry Potter musical.
Next year, I'll be going to pig farts.
It's on
The moon. Or no, it's on Mars.
I thought it was on the... Oh,
Pretty sure it's
whatever.
on Mars.
I think there's even like a little song jingle for it as well.
I believe so.
Pig farts. Oh God, I never actually watched that in its entirety.
There's 3 of them now.
Only 3, really? Huh.
They do. Star Kid Potter does a lot of other musicals too.
I mean, if they want to get paid for it, probably.
I think that started off as like a college production. I don't think it was. You had.
Well,
it
now.
was.
Do they get paid now?
I don't know. I
hope they get paid now.
mean.
I can tell you, man. Shoot, I had a joke, but now I don't remember the term that I used. I can't buy food on
You can't buy champagne on a beer budget.
No.
No?
Mm-hmm.
What do you give an artist when you don't want to pay them?
Oh,
exposure.
Exposure.
Yeah, exposure doesn't buy you groceries.
Exposure doesn't pay the bills.
Or buy the
I
groceries.
can't eat exposure.
Or keep the lights on. But you get the general idea of it. It's just like, I hope you guys are getting paid for it at this
I think
point
they
in
get like
time.
royalties from some of the songs.
That'd
I
be-
think it's one of those weird legal areas because it's a parody, but also like
So long as they're not performing it in Britain, they should be okay. I know Britain and certain European countries have much stronger copyright laws and regulations than we do here in the States.
I don't know. I'm sure they're making money at some point, or were. It's hard to say. I also don't know if any of the original cast still does any of the productions. I don't really follow them as much.
Fair enough. Anyway, so we're technically still talking about Harry Potter, but I think at this point in time we can wrap things up.
Which, if you guys haven't watched a Harry Potter musical, is amazing. It's got great music, and it's got it's got Darren Criss in it, so he's a pretty cool dude.
Any more recommendations?
A Harry Potter
Puppet
sequel.
Pals?
Snape, Severus Snape,
Dumbledore.
Snape, Severus Snape.
Ron, he's the.
No,
wait,
Ron,
that was
Harry Potter.
Ron
Voldemort.
Weasley.
I found
Hermione.
the sound of the mysterious stepping zone.
Hermione.
It's a pipe bomb! Yay!
Voldemort.
Dun, dun. Yeah.
But if you want more content from us, you can find me at Luna's Creation Corner on most social media.
Cole Sanders. However, by the time this pops up, it'll be
find you?
Asked Christmas on Twitch. By the time this comes up, I will be long since finished, hopefully, with Persona 4 Golden. So I'm going to have to get around to figuring out what exactly game I'm going to play next on that. And who knows, you might get lucky and see me in a tuxedo mask costume with my wonderful wife and Sailor Moon while we duel up on a couple of games. We've tossed the idea around a little bit. It'd be kind of fun, in my personal opinion.
Would be fun. You can find me on YouTube under Brandywine Stitches, where you can hear all about my cross-stitch crochet projects and all of that, or Hockeytown Candle Co. for the rest of my soy candle stuff.
Don't be too surprised if you see a couple of her Christmas gifts on that not too long into the future. Oh, wait, this will be coming out after Christmas, so you could potentially see them before this episode comes out. Yeah, it's kind of wonky.
It's a wobbly, timey-wimey thing.
To be honest, the whole schedule thing got kind of screwed up and everything. This technically should have come out much sooner on in the year. I've done this twice now where I forgot to put the new uploads on schedule. Anyway, that's all of our stuff that we've actually got plugged. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what we did wrong. Tell us what we did right. Tell us off for being a bunch of liberal fucktards or whatever it is people say.
Tell us to get back and act like adults and not joke around. We'll just say fuck you. We are adults. We're gonna joke around anyways.
The kids are asleep. We can let our personality come out a little bit. Anyway,
You have a personality?
more so than most people. Anyway, that pretty much wraps everything up. So feel free to come back where we hit the next chapter, the Very Secret Diary, chapter 13. So in the meantime, keep your wands at the ready.